to start out by saying we have some new members with us tonight. We have, down on the far right, we have Noah Myers, or my far right, have Noah Myers, and we have Betty Dick, who are joining us for the first time. And on the opposite end, we have Ron Hawkins, who has changed hats a little bit. He's our representative now from the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. He was a member of the Planning Commission for a few years. And I want to thank all of them, and everybody up here for that matter, for volunteering their time to serve on the Farragut Municipal Planning Commission. We'll start out tonight with the Citizens Forum. If we have anybody in the audience who has something that they'd like to say that does not relate to anything that's on the agenda tonight, or anybody on the Planning Commission who has something they want to say, then we'll move along. Approval of the minutes. Do we have any changes or from last month's meeting minutes? Do I have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Can we have the annual meeting for election of officers? We have the chairman, vice chairman, secretary, and we're open for nominations for the chairman. Do we have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Rita Holliday to continue in that role.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Vice chairman? Sinclair.
Yeah.
We need last names here. Ed Sinclair, do we have a,
I'll second.
all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And secretary?
Ed Whiting.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. We move on to the approval of the Planning Commission bylaws. I think Ruth has gone over these with us before, but Ruth, do you have anything you want to say?
Here at the annual meeting, it's the Planning Commission reviews their bylaws to see if there are any proposed changes that they would like to make. These bylaws, as presented to you this evening, are identical to the bylaws that were approved last year by the Planning Commission, so several of you were around last year on the Planning Commission for that approval. There is no proposed changes to them, and staff recommends approval of the bylaws.
Do you have any questions, comments?
I move for approval.
Second?
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Another position that we need to consider is approval of a planning commissioner at Stormwater Advisory Committee representative. There is one representative from the Planning Commission who sits on the Stormwater Advisory Committee. Do we have any nominations?
Currently, Ed Whiting serves as our liaison, or as our representative, I guess is the correct terminology for that, and he has served for the last year.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 6 on the agenda tonight is discussion and public hearing on the site plan for Campbell Station Retail and Econo Lodge, 715 North Campbell Station Road and 11717 Campbell Lakes Drive, parcel 116 and 117, tax map 130, 3.73 acres, zone C-2, to add a connector driveway between the businesses. Bob Pollock, applicant. Oh. watching on TV the downtime.
On back to this because we couldn't get the PowerPoint to work, and now we're having problems with this work.
Mm-hmm.
What is on the screen is the overhead of this site, and what they are proposing to do is add the driveway connector right. They are eliminating some of the parking spaces and adding this connector between the two businesses so that if folks are going into the Campbell Station retail, they do not have to go back out onto Campbell Station Road. At your places is a list of the staff recommendations. We are recommending approval of this site plan subject to items 1 through 6, number 6 being meet all town requirements. The items are fairly minor, with including a detail the do not enter sign, adding dimensions, submitting and recording the plat, protecting the trees, and submitting an erosion control letter of credit.
The applicant have a representative.
Yes, I'm Richard LeMay. I'm here representing Mr. Pollock. I'll be glad to answer any questions, and then I do have one comment, and Ruth can tell me whether it's too late or if this is the proper forum for it. When I got the first review from the staff, one of the requirements, the first requirement was to make the driveway connector one way. I did that on the plans I resubmitted because I tried to do what I'm told. My developer wanted me to ask if it's any way possible that could be, it's 18 feet wide, if it could possibly remain a two-way access. It's only about 40 feet long and connects the two parking lots.
Actually, that's an NFPA requirement with the
Right.
width. So
Yeah, I understand. I guess I'm not trying to be difficult, but right now, both these facilities meet the fire code requirements. They're being protected without this driveway. And that's all. If it can't be done, it can't be done.
well, it's this body cannot grant variances to the
that
NFPA
answers my
requirements.
I'm
So
done.
it's
I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
yeah.
Ruth, do you want to tell us what NFPA?
NFPA is, well, see, I knew a National Fire Protection.
Association. or-
Yeah, probably.
But it has fire protection.
It's a
okay.
fire protection issue, and there are certain requirements. There may be modifications that can be made with slightly widening it to accommodate it. I don't know if that's feasible with the constraints that he has on the site, because it is fairly tight. But Dan can relook at that.
Richard, do you think you could widen it? I mean, how many, do you need 22 feet, Ruth, to meet?
I can't remember off the top of my head what NFPA's minimum
So I
requirements
think we need
are.
25 feet to meet their requirement. Got a lot of roads less than 18 feet that they
Well, I
travel on to
but
get there.
not any recently approved roads.
The difference is if you're fighting a fire and having equipment and things like that, and it's actually an area I don't feel comfortable going into great detail about, because when we review these site plans, there's actually about 5 or 6 of us that review this. So,
So is there some minimum they're looking for and this doesn't meet the minimum or what?
He had showed 18 feet, so if it was going to be 18 feet, it needed to be one way. And yes, there is a minimum that's established.
It appears that you have some room with I don't know how tight that radius is going to be on that little island behind the Campbell Station retail, but it appears that you're sacrificing a couple parking spaces over there. And surely, it seems like that you could get a few more feet in width to accommodate that. It seems to me,
Right.
looking at it from our point of view, we'd like for it to be bi-directional, to
Yeah,
handle traffic
yeah,
in both
so would
directions.
we.
Going through all this trouble to do
Right.
it, you might as well handle it in both directions, because odds
Right.
are it's going to be used in both directions anyway. It'd be nice if it was
Yeah,
legal.
We've looked at it. We're stuck with the 5-foot buffer from the dumpster, and then we're right at our minimum.
It has to do with the
for
radius on that?
parking spaces,
Okay,
correct.
I thought that might be.
Right.
It also appears that you've offered a pedestrian connection. Am I
Yeah.
seeing that correctly?
Correct.
Great, okay.
Questions?
I have a question, just curiosity. All right, sir. Why wasn't this done? The hotel at that point was not aware of the issues, neither was Mr. Pollock. What's happening now, people trying to get to the hotel are turning into Mr. Pollock's retail center. And then they've got to circle around and get back out, and that happened to several delivery trucks who ended up breaking his curb and all sorts of things, trying to get back out with no interest in coming to his facility, but trying to get to the motel, to the hotel. And so that's when it started being discussed. That's when they started having issues. Right.
Questions?
Sir, is it true, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago when they were contemplating redoing the interchange at that section, this area was going to be taken over by the interchange? Is that true? Is that still an issue in the future?
That issue's been around. Let's see, I've been doing this for 39 years. That's been an issue for 39 years.
Yeah. Well, haven't they contemplated doing the interchange in the very
I
foreseeable
don't believe
future?
I'll be around to see it. I don't know.
Okay.
Have a motion?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes. The standard.
Discussion and public hearing on a site plan for St. John Newman Church, 745 St. John Court, parcel 21.02, tax map 142 in 36.29 acres, zoned R-1 for addition of a pavilion. St. John Newman Church applicant.
St. John Court, right here. This is the church. They're proposing to locate the pavilion back in this area, next to their playground area. Staff is recommending approval of this site plan, subject to including the bike rack and the concrete pad details and meeting all town requirements.
Anyone from the church here to,
Yes, I'm Richard LeMay. I'm here representing the church.